Good morning.
Wake up, it's a brand new day. Let's get down on the good news train. Have your morning coffee with Mario every Monday. Get the 311 before the morning's done. Laugh until you cry. You can always rely on morning coffee with Mario every Monday. Morning coffee with Mario.
What's happening? Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Morning Coffee, the AM reality talk series where we talk about the things that are most interesting to you and I can say, what's up? It's wonderful to be here. Good morning. Never here alone. My partner in crime, the very gifted Victor Allen. Everybody give it up for Victor.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My Monday is dragon, and I'm not talking about breath, but I'm dragon breath. You all right, man?
You know, the seasons are changing. I don't know if you guys have. First of all, we're now well into 2022. Everybody's expectations are changing, are definitely changing as it relates to this year. We're starting to think about getting back to the norm. Everybody is. And so that's causing us to have some adjustment reactions, right? I don't know about you, Vic. Are you having some... I'm still carrying my mask around. I don't know about you guys, but I'm still carrying my mask around.
I have something to admit. I am actually forgetting my mask more often, so I think I'm in transition adjustment, man.
You know, and it's a bunch of mixed messages, you know, and that's what. So here we are, Monday morning, attempting to deal with a bunch of things. The new normal, which is mask or not mask, get out or not get out, travel or not travel, and of course, this constant now daily offering on the war in Ukraine. So now this is part of our daily stuff. I got to give it up. I give it up for you all. I think that these are difficult times and people are handling it, you know, pretty well.
When you say pretty well, which people are you talking about?
Well, when I say pretty well, you have to understand I actually expect full-on disintegration,
Okay.
falling apart.
Okay.
So when they don't do that, I guess I'm happy.
Right.
I'm happy. But no. It's interesting. Americans are stepping up toward helping the folks in Ukraine. And so it's become a cause celebre, you know, across this country and indeed throughout the world.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I guess people are stepping up, even though we know that we want to make sure that for the future that we build upon this. So many refugees in the world, you guys, so many refugees in the world today. And at least I'm hoping that this current crisis increases our sensitivity to refugees. Because you have refugees from Syria, you got refugees from all around.
Right.
And hopefully we can do something to help all of those refugees too.
You know what? I have some words probably later in my Ethos segment as it relates to Ukraine, but you know what I wanted to do is make sure that this Monday starts off with a positive message, and so I made sure that I waited for you to come out swinging, and you did exactly what I expected. You reminded people of what the world is really like for many people who are just not as fortunate to be in the position that we're in. So I have to say you are right on point this morning, and I am not being sarcastic. I'm being real about it, man.
Hey, we're having our coffee, but we're talking about the things, you know, that are affecting us. I got up this morning with the idea of coming to you all, and as always, I look to see what is happening. And let's face it, there's a bunch happening, and it's calling us to arms. It's interesting. For the President Joe Biden the Russia thing takes on a bigger, much bigger picture. In a way, in a sense, providing a certain degree of distraction, it seems. You know, we're watching what goes on in Russia, and that allows us to not think about what's going on with Trump, the Department of Justice, Merrick Garland, and all those things. So it sort of adds to a distraction. You know, even though I must admit, in some ways, I'm kind of glad to be be distracted. I don't know.
You wait a minute. Distracted with what though? What is the main distraction from the distraction?
Shows you how sad it is. It actually feels better to worry about Ukraine than to worry about Trump.
There you go. There you go.
And I guess that's sad.
Yeah.
I guess that's sad. I wonder how many of you are feeling that way too. We are distracted by Ukraine, and in some ways that gets us away from thinking about our own domestic issues. And for some reason, we feel better.
Absolutely.
Well, anyway, a lot of stuff is happening. Everybody's pulling out of Russia. It's kind of interesting. I've been paying attention to who's been doing it. McDonald's said they are shutting down in Russia, and as it seems, a bunch of the Russians are in line to get a fast food fix from McDonald's, which is amazing.
Right.
Which is amazing. All around in Florida, check this out, Vic. In Florida, the state has now initiated a new directive that really goes after folks who have transgender children, making them criminals if they support that transgender. That's right. Now, if you're a parent who has a transgender child in Texas, if you support them on that allegation that they are gender, if they do things that are considered gender affirming, you could be reported for child abuse.
Okay. Is this a new law?
This is a directive that came out in the state of Texas that directed caseworkers to now initiate investigations and allegations against parents who were doing gender affirming treatments of their children.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. I'm speechless on that one, bro.
You know, just terrible stuff. Again, in the Ukraine, they've been told to destroy the pathogens that they have in their labs. In other words, as you've heard, the Russians have taken over the nuclear facilities. Well, it turns out they've also taken over a bunch of the laboratory facilities. And that involves things that could be, well, they're pathogens that are potentially used for whatever purposes. But they've been told to destroy them.
Wow. Okay.
So, again, news today. Have your coffee.
Yeah, you letting people have it on this Monday. Aren't
It's
you?
a Monday. It's going to go quick.
Yeah, you're slapping people with, hey, this is a good day, L.A., right?
I don't know if we're going to have any good day.
All right. So,
L.A.
Yeah, okay.
One of the things that's going around, too, is Big Pharma, the drug companies.
Well, okay, we know, right?
They're one of the few people that are still doing full business in Russia, the drug companies, saying that they are responding to medical needs. So that because they are responding to medical needs, that they are now doing, these are humanitarian reasons.
Right.
While they are concluding, while they haven't stopped dealing with Russia.
Do you believe that a lot of the bigger corporations are at a fine line? For example, if you know, they talk about the technical companies and that they're taking advantage of putting in fake information, but that's supported by the platforms such as, say, Google or others, that say, hey, look, they're using our platform. Do corporations need to take a stand and say, let's shut that down, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, but then do they leave the people voiceless to share what may actually be happening? It's a double-edged sword. You take away the platform so that the politicians don't abuse it, but then at the same time, The people who needed to sit back and say, this is what's happening, they're not able to, and they go to alternative apps. What do you think about that?
I think it shows, again, the ever-increasing power of social media, that people out there and in the Ukraine are using alternative forms of media. You know, the Russians have really tried to stop the internet. And one of the things Elon Musk has said is that he would provide internet service. I haven't heard anything more about that. But exactly, people are sharing through social media what is happening in Ukraine, and indeed that has become once again one of the main ways. The one you were talking about is the families, right, Vic?
Yeah.
The one where the father and the son were conversing. Tell them about that one.
Well, yeah, this one is, it's been about a week or so ago, and there are many stories now, so it's a whole bunch of them now, because throughout the week, where the families, they have families in Ukraine and Russia, and while they're talking, this one instance was talking to a father. A son was saying, father got on the phone and just simply said, son, how are you doing? Just like a everyday, regular conversation. And the son said, we're getting bombed, Pops. We're getting bombed. They're dropping bombs. The Russian military. And the father says, no, that's fake news. That's not happening. whatever you're seeing there, that's not the Russians doing that. And he would not believe him. He kept trying to push through it. Didn't work. And so there's several stories like this catapulted, but beyond that one, the defiance because of how good they took the last few decades and just kind of entrenched this ideology that Ukraine is neo-Nazis. But you're going to get a story also in my ethos where we'll follow up on that as well. And this is kind of permeated through Russia for the most part. And they just crack down on anyone who has a voice against. And that's also including the journalism and broadcasters. So there's many others. There's the Google story. I won't even get into that one. This is a story that was published back in September last year, where they said, hey, Google, stop. Walked into the executive's office, stop what you're doing. And they came in armed. Armed. That's how they are. They were going, you need to stop. Take down the platform. Warn the person. Came back when they didn't do it. It says, the clock is ticking. That's how they were talking. So I'm just giving you an idea that this is what's happening in America. It's terrible, man.
Just that type of world. Ongoing with Trump, the investigations continue. We're going to be getting supposedly a bunch of news in the next couple of months. It's interesting that Trump is still aligning himself for a run at the next presidential election. I don't know how people, which to me is amazing, and part of my frustration with the current Department of Justice. As you know, you've been hearing reports about people who are being charged for the insurgency. But it looks to be, I don't know about you, but it looks to be small numbers. I expected to see 3,000 people indicted. Okay? But but there's no heart to deal with that. There's no heart to deal with it. There is some agreement on attacking the leadership. The head of the Proud Boys was arrested. Other people were arrested. But there seems to be, once again, this whole, in general, unwillingness for America to deal with the truth. They don't want to deal with the insurrection. People really want to brush it underneath the table and let it go. There is no heart for dealing with it. And that's amazing, because when they do that, they leave it open for it to occur again. We know that the same people that did that insurrection, they're sitting at home planning the next thing. Okay, they're planning the next thing. This is the way our world has become. The president still, and again, I reminded people, my issue with Biden always has been is that he's kind of been a cream puff. He's always been, well, let's put it like this. In his efforts to be non-confrontational, he never pushed anything. My criticism of him was always he was the one who sat down and had dinner with all the segregationists and told them, well, would you please be nicer to the Negroes? And in that day and time, that was progressive because, like I remind people, when I was 13, the whole United States was Trump. So when Biden was nice to us, at least spoke kindly to black people, we appreciated that. But there were no stands taken. And here we go again. Here we go again. Now, so the latest Supreme Court nominee, I don't know what people think about her. I'm starting to gather some information. I don't have an opinion. Biden pledged to nominate a black female, you know, and even as a black man, it just sounds so patronizing in some ways. But on the other hand, they do that for abortion. They pledge to find a Supreme Court member that's anti-abortion. So putting political agendas into selection of a Supreme Court candidate is not new. They act like this is new now because he said a black woman. Before, they didn't have to say it. They knew it was going to be a white man. When it was a white woman, they talked about it. So everybody knows. That's what everybody says. It's the norm. It was the norm. And now we may have a different norm. But again, I don't know about this latest Supreme Court candidate. There's things to be learned. There are things that you learn. You learn things like Thurgood Marshall was a friend of J. Edgar Hoover. Okay? And then there's a lot of reports about Thurgood Marshall and how he felt about King. These are things that are out there for you to know so you can understand the background that goes into these things as we move supposedly forward. But waiting to see. You know, Kamala Harris is there trying to stay out of the public eye because all she has to do is be quiet and wait, and she'll be the next Democratic candidate for president and potentially the first black woman president of the United States.
In less than 10 seconds. Less. What's your opinion of Clarence Thomas?
He sucks.
That took about 2 seconds. Very good.
He sucks.
Very good.
Example of black privilege that forgets where it's from. And everything about him shows that.
Oh, man.
Everything about that. That's Clarence Thomas. What these latest things have proven is that you can have people of color in positions of power and still have essentially no change. I don't want to get into a debate about Obama right now, okay, but I can tell you what it's showing us, all of these things, is that you can have people of color in positions of power. You can have women in positions of power. Soon we'll have gay people in more and more positions of power. And what you'll see is actually things do not change because it's not a function of those things. It's a function of the real politics, and those decisions seem to stay the same.
Well, I know Clarence Thomas' wife is a piece of work. I won't get into all that.
Clarence Thomas' wife. So, you know, I hate to say it, but, you know, there are those people you wonder, man, you lay down with...
You know what?
I'm just saying.
You know what?
I go,
I'm staying
some
out
of
that
these
one.
guys, and the women too, I go, you lay down with that? You lay down?
I'm staying out of that conversation.
I'm just saying.
I was talking about her,
Okay.
her position as it seems to be very, very...
That makes it doubly worse. They look like that, then you got to listen to their mouth, and that's their politics, and that's what Clarence Thomas enjoys. I don't want to comment.
Yeah, I'm leaving that alone.
I don't want to comment.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to say.
Yeah, that's a tough one right there, man.
We got Victor Allen's Ethos today. What we got in the Ethos, Vic?
You know, this day we're going to, I said I was going to highlight what I say is the community I like to revolve in, and I'm going to be spotlighting people's global imprint and voice. And what I mean by that, there's going to be a couple of places where we're going to go click the video and let them talk first. And then I will follow up. But it's really about the empowerment side. It's more of a positive side. I'm recognizing many voices that are not just in the mainstream of what they call media, you know, corporate media, the same old. And then also my effort to sit back and recognize that while a war is going on, never forget it. No matter where it's at, never forget where the word's at. So you're going to have a couple of profiles we're going to check out. And I think you'll find yourself to be pleasantly pleased, because empowering women seems to be the catch right now, where I see so many of those stories, man. I hope to share them with you.
Well, there we go. We'll be right back with Victor Allen's Ethos in just a minute.
Playing from Mario's iPad. 4.
That's right, all free music. Go to our website, go to our CC Music Collection, and get this all free music. Good morning, Brenda, Beth, Omari. What's happening, folks?
Shattered my heart and left me with pieces of a broken home. Now you say you need me, standing at the door, asking if you can come in, and I can't say no, no, I can't say no. You and I just can't say goodbye. Every time we do, well, it's just another lie. I know you're no good for me, but every time I'm with you, there's nowhere I'd rather be. We've been to hell, been burned by the flames of a pain so deep that even the strongest God in the heavens would kneel and weep. But here I lie, pressed against your skin, right where I wanna be. You're the sweetest sin. You and I just can't say goodbye. Every time we do, well, it's just another lie. I know you're no good for me, but every time I'm with you, there's nowhere I'd rather be.
This ain't sound of Body Heat. That's Laswell. Drunk in a smoky bar, drinking an Imperial Porter Mix. Longest name in the world. Laswell. Drunk in a smoky bar, drinking an Imperial Porter Mix. Yeah. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to present to you, once again, the evolution of reporting. Here's Victor Allen's Ethos.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Yo, man, check it out. Before I even say anything, just say yes or no, and then I'm going to move on real quick. Surprised about Tom Brady? Yes or no?
Yes.
Good. Let's go on. Okay. All right. Since we're constantly sitting back recognizing what we call is the nature of man, which is to watch men terrorize people most of the time. Wars are usually started by men. I know some people are going to say, yeah, well, some women can start some wars. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. There are different type of wars. What I'm doing today is to recognize a couple of people, and before I get into this whole description, it's about the voices they represent. And the first young lady we're going to get into, her name is Shelby Ivey Christie. She's a fashion and costume historian. Why is that different? Because she's literally trying to bring recognition and specialize in information about fashion history, that the intersections of race and culture. That alone caught my eye, because it's not just about here's the design, here's the clothes. And so on this page, Mario, which I will go ahead and instruct you, there's a link below. At her Instagram, I want you to click. And we want to go to her Instagram and just click her video and just listen to her message as it relates to why she's here. If the link doesn't work, don't worry about it. I'll continue on, because I was having problems with the link as well.
With links to this.
Yeah, don't worry.
Is that
about
what you wanted to link to?
Yeah, I want to link to
This
that.
is an Instagram for her. This is
That's it. Go ahead.
that's a different person. That's your Rachel Lynch.
Right. Don't even worry about it. I'll just go on and
This is-
continue. Yeah, I'll just go on and continue, because it's not popping up. It's redirecting, and I ran through that as well, so I'm going to apologize for that. What I'll go ahead and explain what she's doing here. Her information is always there. Her stated goal is to share the contributions of Black designers in fashion history. And so Christie also seeks to credit Black designers and their historic contributions to fashion that are not widely known, such as the work of designer Felicia Farrar. She partnered with Netflix to do a fashion thread from Beyonce's Homecoming. One of the missions that I said I was going to get involved in, Mario, is to spend more time recognizing people in social media, not just socially, but advocacy. And so this is kind of the beginning of that journey. And part of where you get to learn more about her is at her Instagram. She is very, very well spoken. Her mission is very strong. I know fashion sometimes kind of make people get kind of lazy and say, oh, well, it's just fashion. But she is actually representing a movement. And I said I was going to be part of following people who I believe that have a movement. Now, I want to go ahead and just move on down to the second young lady, because she has a same type of mission. You may have already seen her. She's somewhat popular, but still, I want to recognize her achievements. Her name, Rachel Lindsay Abasolo, an American media personality and attorney. Now, she's basically going to get a lot of recognition, because you're going to think of the Bachelorette show, and that's her recognition. That's her blossoming, if you want to say it. And she actually basically was the first African-American lead in the Bachelor franchise. But that's not what we're looking at. What we're looking at is her message. Now, Mario, I hope this link works right below it, and click it and see if it comes up. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and continue on.
Her Twitter account, that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, you can go to above there. Should be right under her name is an Instagram link, and see if that activates her video. I hope it does. Yes, and let's listen to a recent show about a topic that I found very interesting, and that's what made me recognize what she's doing. So we can go right to it if it plays.
It's hard for me to stop the mentality of not caring about or not caring about what's happening, or maybe more so I should say that that's not our fight, because that's what I've seen people say. This is why you don't jump in. This isn't our fight. I feel like that's generalizing what's happening at the border and applying that to all the Ukrainians. There are people who are trying to flee this country. It doesn't mean that every single Ukrainian has adopted a racist mentality where they are prohibiting Africans or Black people from crossing the border. This is obviously something that's done within the government, and this is something that's happening with the soldiers that are implementing this. I'm more so disappointed in, we are seeing the Ukrainian president speak out on so many different things. This is obviously at this point a worldwide issue. It's everywhere. Everybody has picked this up, not just in the United States. Why have you not spoken out about it? Why are we not hearing anything from the Ukrainian government about we're going to rectify this? We've heard from the Polish government. The Polish have said that is not us. We are allowing anybody to come into our country. That's the Ukrainian soldiers who are preventing people from hopping on trains or from entering into the country at the border. I'm more so disappointed in that. But I don't want to sit there and say, at the end of the day, I feel like having empathy towards what's happening to the Ukrainians in the country because of the Russian invasion. I still feel that. Though there are people who are losing their lives, their well-being, everything they've known, they're being displaced, and there's a lot of sadness and confusion and loss there. I can't separate myself from that because there's racism at the border. I think the reason that your first thought wasn't how were the black people being treated in the Ukraine, because your first thought was these people are at war. These people were invaded for all the wrong reasons. And your thought is these people are just trying to escape. So in your mind, it's like these people are at war. That's their first thought is to save their lives. You're not thinking, oh, they're going to treat black people the same way that they're being treated by the Russians. You're not thinking, how in the world are they still going to find time to be racist in the middle of a war? And I don't think you're wrong for not thinking racism first, thinking about the humanity of these people. But humanity is showing us time and time again the strength and the power of racism. That even when you're down and out, you still think that people who are darker skinned are the scum of the earth. It shows how deeply rooted the hatred for the color of our skin is worldwide. And I think the other thing that it makes me think too is, how can you ask the UN, the West, African countries to stand with you when you aren't even standing for everybody that's trying to get out of that country? That's my thought. How you gonna ask us to help you and be there for you when you are pushing mothers and children to the side, leaving them out in the cold, waiting for hours to escape this country, when you're not even looking at us as human beings at this point? So don't ask us for help when you can't even treat us like human beings. Yeah. So I get you. That's my struggle. It's hard for me to adopt the mentality of...
Wow. You see why I went to her right away, because she made a point that I didn't catch it. I thought about it and I searched for it. I was watching the president, this Zelensky, right? Now, I just said, maybe I'm not seeing all the announcement. Maybe I'm not seeing all his presentations and his speeches, but not one time. And he's monitoring everything. He's monitoring what's happening at the borders. He's monitoring, as it relates to the military confrontation. I'm pretty sure he has his shoulders full because covertly they're out to try to get him. But not one time did he speak up for those people who are being pushed aside, people of color. And it makes me stop and go, I'm not going to hate on the people who are going through this. It's just the top-down orders are being instructed and told to the soldiers. And it has to come from somewhere. And he hasn't said a word.
Yeah, sad statement, and she actually expressed the viewpoints that I kind of feel. I don't want to label all Ukrainians as racist. We have racists here, we have bigots here. There are racists and bigots in every society, and unfortunately, in moments like these of desperation, those are often the people who we see, even though I'm sure that there are others who are not acting in that way. Just another sad statement on the world, that here we are. I've heard that from people who's like, where were the Ukrainians when Black Lives Matter? Where were they? But again, let's take the higher road for a second. This is about confronting evil, okay? This is about confronting evil. Right. And there's no question that the people who do this evil would treat you in a way that's similar.
True.
And it's also true that no matter where you go, you find those who are willing, like crabs in a barrel, to step on those who they feel are beneath them. So I don't know, Vic. It hurts my feelings. Let me just say, first and foremost, as a black man, it just hurts again. It just hurts again. It hurts whenever we as black people get involved with things or people and then somehow get some kind of a slap in the face. So often it's happened when you like certain stars or certain athletes, then come to find out that they don't particularly care for you or your people. I refuse to accept that these incidents, and there are more and more reports of racial incidents occurring, that these are the norm. But they're obviously happening enough, right?
Well, yeah, and that's the part I'm trying to bring a light on it into it is on awareness, because I know it's happening, and I wanted to give the president, and they say if you don't hear the voice, it'll be no different than what we saw and experienced from Donald Trump. Reaction only when it's attacking that you didn't do this. Well, it seems like the same thing may be happening with this president. Now, like I said, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt that I haven't seen a statement, and maybe it's out there, and I hope. I would rather be wrong that he has stood for those people of color who are suffering just as well. So I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt, but I shouldn't have to look that hard. Now, while that's happening, Mario, I'm going to try one more time because I want to see if I can still get this profile. Under Shelby's name, go to that Instagram link and see if it works. Right under her name, right there.
It's not a link to Instagram.
It's not a link?
It's just a link to Shelby.
Yeah, okay. So it's
that's why I was trying to...
Oh, no. Up higher, under her name. Yeah, try it there. And see if we can get that moment with her as well.
Is that it right there?
Yes. So I want to leave up on a up, if I can.
Hold on, these things, they have so many. There we go.
Hi, I'm Shelby Ivey Christie, and I'm a costume and fashion historian, and what I do is document Black contributions to fashion. Black historical figures who have contributed so much to the landscape. It's my job to make sure they're included in the storytelling around fashion. I think Soiree is a game changer. They're unapologetically being Black and celebrating their culture in an industry that is largely and predominantly white. Similar to the long legacy of Black men and Black designers in suiting and customization, I think Wear falls right in line with where they're producing work that is custom, is bringing through textiles that really echo West African culture. Suiting and pants and those kinds of things, and women's wear are really mile markers for progression. I love that we're moving away from kind of shape that hovers over the body, and we're moving back to that very skin tight, the body sock kind of look. It's painted on you. I love that, and Black designers are really dominating that look. Spotlighting, celebrating, and encouraging people to buy Black, even if you can't afford to purchase an item, a share, a like, a retweet, a repost. Reach out and let those designers know what pieces you love even. Encouragement helps. That's how we change the game, and that's how you can change the game.
Thank you, Shelby. Also, her ponytail.
I like it. It's going to keep looping. So, hey, look. So, that's, see, I wanted to do this twofold. So, what I figured out something here to make it more glaringly obvious where the links are going to go, because it's kind of a surprise to Mario. And I wanted to feature these videos, and then I want to also show a video that it's going to be my weekly post. Whenever I'm doing my ethos, I have to have a statement or something that represents what has happened through the activity of the week for me. But I wanted to give a shout out to both those young ladies and continue to support them because they're doing what they need to do by standing tall and saying I'm being more than just the career I'm in. I want to be able to be a voice, and I believe all the time Mario and I talk about this. We may talk about different things a lot, but we are a voice, and every voice counts. And so to me, especially under this time, you can also highlight things, the atrocities, but also do the awareness of things that are good and uplift people. Now, the video I have coming up here is called Rhythm of Wheels, and I'll just let Mario just play it, and we'll just go through it, and that'll be my sign-off for the ethos and follow-up. what's right, even when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, give it up, Victor Allen's Ethos.
Yes, sir. Yeah, the whole thing was the Ukraine and the meeting of two worlds here, hoping for those, and then at the same time watching the same thing happen with wars, sectioning out people of a different persuasion. Seems like it never changed, man.
You know, and it's a bad thing to actually have to sit here and experience this tragedy that goes on in Ukraine and then have to reflect on it from the perspective of race. I mean, that,
Man,
see,
never ends, does it? It never ends.
it's like it never ends. And this is where the black man, the black woman, this is where we just hang our head, you know.
Right.
I don't even know what to say. It's so disheartening to me. Here you have an issue where you're concerned and caught up with man's inhumanity to man.
Right.
And then we have to experience this
Right.
all over again. It's like, you know, mustering your little bits to help someone and then getting there and find out that they don't want your help.
Gives you a kind of a, and I'm not trying to say things are not improving. Things are improving. They're just very slow. How long did it take our own country to detoxify, which is still in the process of what has happened ever since the Civil War? It's going to take a while. This thing that's happening, I don't know. Let me just say this. What's the most progressive country on the planet, if you, in your opinion?
Wow.
Gotcha. See?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Does anyone know that answer to that question or have an opinion? What is the most progressive country in the world as it relates to race?
Yes. I'm not going to even guess. I'm going to go look, but I want to see if people have an obvious answer, man.
I don't know. I don't know.
And it used to be, you used to think it would come out of your mouth, maybe say 10, 15 years ago. Wasn't there a quick snap that you would go, we are? Didn't you used to think that? Now that can be from lack of aging, because here's the thing, I have to admit this, guys. So I'm just so understand. One thing happens when you start getting older. They say you either get more relaxed or you internalize more. You become that couch that you used to walk by when you were 17 or 20 years old. You walk by it, didn't want to sit in it. So when you get over 40, 50, you start looking at that couch, it becomes your friend. You start sitting in it longer. And when you sit in it longer, you pick up this, the remote, the remote, the remote. And what do? Dial in. What are you dialing in? You're not going, I'm not looking for the clubs. I'm not looking to go out, do this. I'm not trying to have fun. Let me find out what's going on. You see this bullshit? You see what this person is talking about? That's what happens. Okay? That's what happens. Put down the damn remote. You guys don't be afraid of the phone. Okay? The phone is your friend. Take it from me. That phone is your friend. It's one of the best things that's ever been put in an individual's hands, even with those who are shock and awe. Shock and awe, bro. That's my ethos.
Well, let's take a quick flash look at today's news as presented to us through Yahoo and Google. So much celebrity news. Who's Pete Davidson, who's now linked openly to Kim Kardashian. He finally responds to Kanye West.
Oh boy. Okay.
You know, it's just,
Why?
you know.
Why?
And I'd say why, too, because, listen, I remind everybody that Kanye is a person with a medical disability for which he should be on medication. And what he's doing right now is acting out because he's not on that medication. And so he's just doing stuff, and it's actually makes him look so bad. You know, Davidson has been taking the high road, but, you know, I guess we all get to weigh in on this one. How about this one? Jussie Smollett sentenced to 150 days in jail, and then what, 300 days of probation or something?
Yeah, something like
For
that.
lying about a hate crime that he supposedly perpetrated upon himself. The response has been a meager, because no one really wants to come in to his defense. Everybody's, for the most part, embarrassed by him. And even Don Lemon, who had publicly supported him before, had to come out and say.
Yeah.
They had to come out and say. So,
Did you hear anything from Robin Roberts? Did she ever do a follow-up? Because, I mean, I don't follow the show.
oh, yeah, no, I didn't. Because, again, a lot of people did embarrassing kind of things with him
And don't want
and
to say-
supportive and don't want, who wants to be dealing with that right now?
Now, this is a part where I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. Okay. All those wonderful shows, and I understand people taking the position of doing these hot interviews. When you scramble to go get it to be first, what is it that the main corporations want to do? We were first. Now, if your ass is last and don't say anything, I think you're culpable to the corporations going like, let's not say anything to protect our credibility. At that point, you lose me as a show and a representative. I'm not blaming Robin if it hasn't been done. This is just my overall.
Well, the producers are deciding that,
That's
I'm
right.
sure.
Right, they are. And that's the part where I go, oh, so now you guys are going to be slow and rolling. Why can't you just get on the thing and say, look, we got bamboozled too. Believe
Jussie
me.
Smollett.
Hey, that's it.
All right, how about this one? Pittsburgh Steelers signed Mitchell Trubisky to be Ben Roethlisberger's replacement.
I'd rather talk about Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. How about this one? The fully vaccinated will need a fourth dose later this year for a new variant named Deltacron. The bad news, from what I was gathering, and I've been looking on an ongoing basis because the information in these areas does change. It changes regularly, so you have to kind of look and see. The latest information was showing that the vaccinations were starting to wane sometime after 4 months, believe it or not.
Right.
You weren't getting even a full year of protection.
Right.
And so it looks like, along with the virus becoming what we call endemic instead of pandemic, the vaccines are not working as you might expect. On the other hand, they do prevent serious illness. Okay.
Oh, you know what, Mar, you got a good point.
And everybody who gets it seems to have mild illness.
Yeah. You know, Mar, you've had headaches before, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I dated a headache before. I've had headaches. She was sweet.
Let's see.
She was sweet.
Okay.
Fertile.
Okay. All right. And you've taken the pill. Not the blue pill, not the red pill, but you've taken the pill, right?
It cost $10. That's correct.
The headache did go away and subside.
Oh,
right?
that one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I
Right.
took a
Right.
Tylenol.
But the headache came back sometime down the road, didn't it?
We back to the date again?
I'm just.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'm
the
just
headache did
saying.
come back.
The headache came back. You took the pill again, right?
Yes, I did.
How's this any different? We just got to take the pill again, right?
No, I don't know.
I'm just saying. You take cold medicine. Get a cold?
So, in other words, here's what Vic is saying. Vic is saying,
Yes.
just get used to getting a vaccine every 4 months.
That's right. Or the pill. It's going to,
No, the pill won't be enough. It'll have to be a vaccine
going to have to be.
every 4 months.
Yeah.
How you feel about that?
Right. Look, right now, none of you guys are complaining about the cold. It keeps coming back. The flu keeps coming back.
Well,
Pneumonia keeps coming back.
while Victor tells you that, let me tell you this. So in China, they just shut down 51 million people.
Wow.
Put them on lockdown for COVID. 51 million.
Wow. Another
Full shutdown
spike, right?
because of 2 cases. Now you have to understand, when they find 2 cases, they know that really means it's
Way more.
because you have to when you find 2 in this little group, you say, "Oh shoot!"
And they got close proximity too.
So yeah, so China's shut down
Yeah.
over 50. Let me see what city, if I can tell you what city it was. 51 million in China
Right.
because of the lockdown. It's the worst COVID crisis. I don't know which variant. Yeah, it's in the northeastern province of Jilin, where 24 million people live, in the southern cities of Shenzhen and Dongguan. They shut them all down.
So obvious.
Oh, Vic,
yeah.
supposedly across those cities, remember when I said they found 2? Now
There's
they've got
more.
1,400.
I see it.
1,400 cases. Take a look.
Right.
Take a look at this setup.
That's okay. Let me give you. Is that a nice setup compared to our setups? Wait a minute. What do you think?
I mean, it's a reasonable setup.
It is a reasonable setup. It's big, man.
Yeah, I mean, because the whole thing is to try to have some degree of isolation of patients.
Right.
As you get overwhelmed with patients, it becomes virtually impossible to do that.
Right.
But so China's going through a big old
Okay.
shutdown. And just see, I was just bringing this point out to think about people concerned about the way the U.S. has dealt with it in comparison. Over there, they just jump on it, which is so different in us. Just like in Saudi Arabia, where they just had a mass execution of 81 people. A mass execution.
Okay.
Now, in Saudi Arabia, the most common method of execution is beheading. It's beheading. These are our collaborators, whatever. These are our allies. But so these are different people. They are a group that can comprise 73 Saudis, 7 Yemenis, 1 Syrian, for a variety of crimes, but 81 beheadings. Now, who carries that out? I guess the beheader person. I don't know how you get that job.
I really don't, man.
But can you imagine that?
I think, listen,
Wow.
it's really the crime fit the punishment. And I don't even want to get into what it is because sometimes you get shocked about what they will say. This is an end of life event that you perpetrated. And sometimes you're shocked. It may not be as bad, and sometimes it's just unbelievable. They should have been punished severely. So, interesting. 81.
Who do I love more than Lady Gaga?
For Mama? I'll just say it.
I do love me some Lady Gaga because of her politics, because of her stands. I'm forever seems to be impressed with her. Take a look at this latest outfit that she wore at the Critics' Choice Awards.
Do you follow? Let me ask you something.
Yes, I do.
Do you follow the critics?
No, I don't follow them, but I have stalked 1 or 2.
So it wouldn't matter what the title of the award is.
No, it doesn't, because I
matter.
don't know. It's
Right.
just a chance to see her breasts.
I'm not commenting.
Lady Gaga,
I'm not.
Critics' Choice Award, she knows she's wonderful, and we get to see her in high fashion. One of the, I was trying to find a picture. So, one of the things, alluding to a previous story, Kanye's new date,
Oh yeah.
and whether she looks like
Oh yeah.
Kanye, what's her name?
Yeah.
Janie Jones?
Yeah.
What?
I know.
Used to date one of them kind of shaded.
Let's see. See what you're doing. What you're doing is
What?
saying this. He's trying to get somebody closely associated with the looks of Kim. Right?
Well, let's just. Well, I don't. Does this? What do you guys think? Is that?
I'm leaving the commentary to you. Okay. So the message is that Kim has sprinkled the Kim flavor on Kanye, and he has to go find anyone. Is that the message? That looks like him. Is that the reason why you put that up?
I just wanted to show you what his women look like.
Okay, but there's a story. You know the story.
I wasn't sure I had a point. I was just trying to show you.
Well, I've seen the story, and that was the lead-in going, wow, the similarities are uncanny. What does that say about Kanye, man? You know,
Sounds like a bunch of us. You know, like I always said, you could tell the ones that Vic wants, because when you walk in the room, whatever women's head above everybody else's head, like you walk in the club, whoever's head you see, that's the one Vic's going to talk to. The tall stallion, statuesque.
See, that's wrong.
Statuesque women.
That's wrong. I have to pull out pictures so I can show him. But, you know, now it makes it worse if I do that. So if I'm going to do that, you have to do it too, man. Okay? I'm done.
Everybody, Victor Allen. And the Ethos.
And should Tom Brady take his mid-40 age body and stay home?
You know, Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. Actually had a great year. So, you know, who am I? Who am I to say one should retire? I'm thinking of myself and my dating days, and perhaps I should retire from the world of activity. Perhaps you too, Vic, should take that soldier and put him out to pasture. You know, retire him from operation, Vic. Maybe it's that time for us to consider taking that lone cowboy off the range, Vic. And
mine is on the bike.
maybe.
It's on the bike, bro. It's going wherever I go.
Who's the lone cowboy?
All right.
And we want to thank you all for tuning in for Morning Coffee with Mario. You know, the show right now, you guys, just so you know, evolving things here in the studio, a bunch of stuff evolving here at Pax Stereo. We're making sure the system is up, getting ready for some expansion, a bunch of new things coming. And we're getting ready and making sure everything is working around here just so we can bring that to you.
A lot of work, man. I
lot of
know
work.
it is a hell of a lot of work. It is. I ain't gonna lie to you. I know for people who've already followed this show, they go, well, you guys are just doing it once a week. But the stuff that we're attempting to transition to, it's a lot of work. So hopefully we'll be able to accomplish it. But it's going to be a challenge.
I want to thank our friends for tuning in. Omari, Brother from Another Mother, and PMC, Catherine Dorsey Spragley. Thank you so much, Beth Nasca, all the people who've been part of it. Thank you for being part of our show. See you next week. Bravo.